Welcome to the webinar Managing Employee Benefits in India. Based on your geography, I would like to greet you good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. And at the inset, would like to thank you for registering for this webinar. I'm very glad that you've shown keen interest to know what are the typical employee benefits are offered in India and how are they managed. So I would start by giving a bit of an introduction about Sannam S4 and about who I am and what would today's presentation and the webinar be. I would run you through a couple of slides, and we'll also have some poll questions which would be topic. I will talk about the results and the right answer. At the end of the webinar, there will be a Q&A session. So I would encourage you to ask questions on the topic, and that we will discuss. And we'll also be to know more on the discussion. So, in today's presentation, what I aim to really cover is about us, about Sannam S4, the kind of work Sannam S4 does, and kind of then introduction to the topic, which is employee benefits in India. Then there will be an employment quadrant shown to you, and by that medium, I will explain. I'll talk about general employee benefits in India, some new and some upcoming trends within employee benefits, the impact on the organization if the employee benefits are managed well, some tips and guidance from our side, and then we'll go to the Q&A session. I'm Rohan Moktali. I am the head of HR and HR advisory of Sannam S4 Consulting. We are a market and trade facilitation firm. Sannam S4 established in early 2008 with the aim of providing a comprehensive professional support platform for international businesses entering and growing in the Indian market. We are headquartered in London globally, but in India we have offices in New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Chennai with about 120 people on rolls. We have launched and supported over 100 organizations in India. In the past 24 months, we offer a comprehensive strategy to a range of services, and they actually lead to turnkey market entry support. One of the key things which we offer is our sectoral coverage is quite broad, and that is done through the in-house expertise we have. And to formally introduce myself, I head HR and HR advisory practice. And I also run Mumbai's office of Sannam S4, is the guide existing and potential clients of Sannam S4 on the best practices of Indian employment law. Currently, I am advising 50 international organizations who are active in India on various HR matters. These matters range from operational HR support to strategic issues to employee relations to disciplinary matters, grievance, sexual harassment, their salary and benchmarking compensation needs. We conduct HR audits, so on and so forth. In my previous role, I was the head of HR compliance and also the lead for employee relations, the Royal Bank of Scotland Group in India. I have a varied background of HR and statutory compliance role. Having a webinar to you today on one of the most interesting topics, which is managing employee benefits in India. So I would like to give you a bit of a background that how does the concept of employee benefit really emerge. Owing to the economic liberalization in the last 2 decades, the regulatory authorities and the courts are now more willing to recognize the right of the employer to carry on his business in the matter he thinks, which fits commercially as long as the employer complies with the minimum statutory protections available to the employees. Historically, there were acts and laws enacted for protecting employees' rights. However, most of them have been for the category called workmen. So in India, there are two prime categories of workers. One is the non-workman category, and the other is the workman category. Starting from the latter, which is the workman category, I would explain that quickly. So the employees who fall under the category of workmen are the employees who are protected by a framework of law, typically under the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. These are those category of employees who do not really have any supervisory rights or who do not have any managerial powers. For example, they cannot approve leave for anyone, they can't sign checks, and they can't take decisions which have a significant impact on the business. These people also end up doing either unskilled or semi-skilled roles, which means they support the office in terms of housekeeping, security, and relevant functions. So to protect the rights of these employees, the Government of India, way back in 1947, has enacted a law called Industrial Disputes Act 1947, which provides guidelines on managing the employees, the benefits they need to get, and a whole lot of things around their retirement to retrenchment. The non-workmen category are typically those people who generally do, if I may use the term, white-collar meetings or white-collar employment, wherein they are not covered, unfortunately, under a specific act, but the only medium which governs their employment is the employment contract or the document, which is also called an appointment letter, which they sign with their employer. These employees do high-end jobs, they are technically skilled, and they operate at reasonably senior levels, and they have obviously the decision-making powers, like they can approve expenses, they can approve various funds, sponsorships, approve leaves, and take key decisions. So as the presentation unfolds, we will talk about the various benefits offered to these kind of people. Historically, Indian companies have offered benefits to their employees in the form of health, life insurances, or even retirement programs. Albeit, given that the shelf life of a candidate in a particular role in today's world has decreased and the market has become more flexible, benefit schemes play all the more important role. So today, offering benefits has become as crucial as offering the right amount of compensation for a particular role. To attract and retain talent, amongst many other things, adoption of best employee benefit schemes is the need of the hour. Obviously, as an employer, when a manpower budget is designed or a job description is written for a particular role, there are many things or many factors which are considered. They could be the role in principle, the powers, the compensation, the bonus, the incentive plan, etc. In the scheme of things, the benefits attached to that role are also equally important because in today's world, while employees move jobs within India, they as much as consider benefits as they consider any other requirements of the role. So I'm presenting you an employment quadrant which talks about the key things which are considered by employees in India during the course of employment. If you keep employment at the center of everything, there are four broad factors which employees are concerned about, and this is fairly the same across the world. Compensation, obviously, the remuneration which is paid to the employee for a particular role he or she is performing. Uh, this includes the fixed as well as the variable cost, the cost of the company, and also any bonus or performance-based incentive attached to that role. Then is the benefits, which is the topic for the day, career progression, and rewards if I go in the clockwise direction. So if I talk about the other two factors, which is rewards and career progression, they also play a very crucial role because an employee would constantly like to get acknowledged against the work he or she is delivering. Naturally, seeking feedback on the work we do is as important as the expectation per se is about doing that work. So employees constantly look for opportunities wherein they are fed back about the level of performance they are delivering and is it as per the expected standards for that role. And that could also be done through rewards. Similarly, an employee would like to know at the end of every year when that day of appraisal comes that where he or she is leading or where he or she is heading to, where's the career heading. So, as much as factors like compensation, rewards, career progression are important, benefits also play a crucial role in today's world. When offers are negotiated, in my experience, employees often ask the amount of benefits attached to a particular role and to the extent of benefits. Obviously, today we would be talking about all such benefits which would be A, statutory in nature, and which are seen as best practices across the industry. A few years ago, that wasn't the practice. Employees primarily focused on the role, on the breadth and the width of the role, uh, the compensation and career progression opportunities. But of late, it is seen that more and more companies entering into India, and as the market gets more competitive and there's a war for talent attraction, companies are introducing new schemes every day, literally, so they can attract good talent and also retain the talent they are having with them. Moving forward, I would like to seek your attention to the next slide, which talks about the general employee benefits offered in India. Broadly, I have divided them into two segments. First is the statutory benefit as the topic of uh, today's webinar around both the things, whether it's statutory benefits or it's the best practices. So under statutory benefits, I've listed certain benefits which are mandated by law. Now, this law could be a local law, a state law, or a federal central law. As applicable, these benefits are embedded often in the employment package of the employee. The first is paid leave. It's paid time off for the holiday rule. In India, there are various laws towards employment. So there are central laws, there are state laws, and there are local laws. There's a law called Shops and Establishment Act, which is a local law which is formed and formulated by the local authority, generally the municipal corporation, which provides guidelines to a commercial establishment for running business. It has different provisions right from opening time of the office to the number of hours an employee can work at the maximum level, uh, certain benefits and certain facilities to be provided by the employer to the employee working in the jurisdiction of that particular act. So one of the things which are mandated under the Local Shops and Establishment Act is the paid time off or the paid leave. As such, there are three types of broad categories of leave. The first is the annual leave or the earned leave, which is leave of longer duration, generally availed for a period of rest and rejuvenation, and employees are expected to plan that in advance. Uh, Based on the state one is in India, the maximum entitlement would vary. We have 29 states today in India, and every state has a Shops and Establishment Act. Some states like Punjab and Haryana have a shared law, which means that that law is applicable to commercial establishments between both the offices, between both the states. So the Local Shops and Establishment Act outlines the minimum statutory leave which can be offered and the maximum entitlement. For example, if I talk about Delhi, which is the capital of India, the Shops and Establishment Act of Delhi provides an employee with paid leave facility of 27 days per annum. Other than annual leave, there are two more categories which are not consistent across every state, but most of the states have those categories. So those two categories are sick leave or sickness absence and casual leave. So obviously, as the name says, sickness absence is towards sickness reasons where an employee is incapacitated to come to work on account of sickness. And casual leave is for casual reasons, typically defined as leave availed by an employer for unforeseen reasons, availed at the last minute. The next benefit, which is mandated under a specific act, is the maternity benefit. So there is an act enacted by the government of India. It's called the Maternity Benefit Act 1961. Under that, certain benefits are offered for female employees who are on their family way, and their rights are protected under this act towards a certain benefit. So in India, for the private sector employers, the Maternity Benefit Act provides 3 months of paid leave to women employees with provision of an additional 1 month leave. This leave is paid leave and is also offered uh, against situation of miscarriage. It's considered as one of the key benefits, and there's a likelihood that this particular benefit would be extended to even 6 months, and that discussion is underway, and there's a proposal pending with one of the houses of India in Parliament. At the moment, the state government and the central government employees enjoy 6 months of paid maternity leave. Hopefully, someday, for the private sector employees in India, this benefit will go up. The next benefit, which again is a statutory benefit, is Provident Fund, which is the acronym for that is PF. Provident Fund is a benefit which is created with an intention to secure the retirement or the phase of employee's life after the cessation of his work. There's a condition, however, employees who are drawing about 15,000 Indian rupees per month can actually opt out from the scheme. However, employees who draw less than 15,000 per month, it's mandatory for the employer to cover these employees under the PF scheme of the company. Only those employers who have either 20 or more than 20 employees on their payroll can go ahead and seek a registration under the Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Act 1952. However, if the number of employees is less than 20 and if majority of those employees wish to voluntarily opt for the scheme, then there is a provision where the employees can go ahead and get that coverage. PF traditionally is considered as a key benefit across the rest of the schemes simply because it is also seen as mandatory savings. Under this act, every month 12% of employees' basic salary is contributed to the PF account from the employer's side, and an equivalent amount of share goes from the employee's side. There's also 1.61% equivalent amount which goes towards administration of the PF. When the employee leaves a particular organization or moves on to join another organization, he has an option to either withdraw the accumulated PF or to get the PF transferred to the new organization. There are certain conditions for that, but then this benefit can be rolled over to the new employer, provided the new employer also has the registration under this particular act. Part of this provident fund is pension, and therefore employees look at this particular benefit as a mandatory saving. The next is ESI, which is Employee State Insurance. I connect back to the categories of worker which I explained while we started this webinar. So ESI is primarily for the workman category because only employees who draw less than 15,000 rupees as gross salary per month are covered under this mandatory state insurance. This is a statutory benefit which the government extends to employees below this particular level. Under this insurance scheme, they get free access to various hospitals within the network of ESI, and the treatment is largely free for various ailments. And in an unfortunate event where there's a death of the employee, then the insurance also pays certain money as life insurance to the employee. One of the benefits under the statutory framework is a statutory bonus. This bonus is also not mandatory to be paid for all employees, but it's paid under the Payment of Bonus Act to employees who draw less than 10,000 rupees per month. This bonus is paid in the form of an additional salary, which is called as a 13th month salary, generally during the festive season of Diwali, and is equal to 8.33% of the annual salary, which is actually 1 month's salary. It's got a historical significance because at the time when there was a monopoly of industries in India and the economy was dominated by various industries and manufacturing units, based on the surplus the employer had, the employees would get an additional salary during the festive season. Over the period of time, this was protected by a particular act which is called Payment of Bonus Act, and today people who belong to the workman category and who fall under the framework of the Bonus Act, where they draw less than 10,000 rupees per month, need to be paid statutory bonus. The next benefit is gratuity. There is an act enacted by the Government of India in 1972, which is called the Payment of Gratuity 1972. This benefit is extended irrespective of the nature of employee, whether it's a workman category or non-workman category. Gratuity, as the name says, it's a payment made by the employer to the employee through expression of gratitude for staying with the company for a significant amount of time. It's also called as a long service benefit simply because employees who complete 5 years of continuous service in employment with one particular employer are entitled to this benefit. When I say 5 years of continuous service, it means that there should not be any break in the employment. Obviously, the employee is entitled to leaves, but leaves are not seen as break in the service. But if it is continuous service for 5 years, then yes, the employee is entitled to payment of gratuity upon cessation of the employment. So whenever the employee quits the company after the period of 5 years, the employer is bound to make that payment. There's also a debate whether 5 years is 5 full years because there's a judgment by the courts of Chennai, which was earlier or erstwhile Madras High Court, which says that continuous service of 4 years and 8 months, which is 4 years and 240 days and 10 months, is seen as a period which qualifies an employee for gratuity. Generally, the amount of gratuity is equivalent to 15 days of salary for each completed year of service. There are organizations who actually pay more than that amount, but that's the minimum companies shell out. This is also seen as a compulsory benefit by most of the employees, and it also acts as a retention factor because an employees complete certain period in employment and they are aware that after completing 5 years they'll be entitled to this benefit, which is reasonably high, they stick to the company. And that actually helps employers to retain that employee. And there's also another statutory payment which is called the overtime pay. So I again refer to the Local Shops and Establishment Act, which specifies the minimum number of hours an employee can put in a particular day and in a particular week. As such, an employee cannot work more than 48 hours in a week, but there are organizations where the demand of the business or the need of the organization sometimes expects employees to work more. In such scenario, there is an overtime to be paid to the employee, which can be only paid up to a maximum of 4 hours. So, listeners, these were certain statutory benefits which are mandatory by the respective act they come under. And most of these benefits are intended to pay after a particular time, so which, as I said sometime back, that they are seen as compulsory savings, and some of them actually protect the rights of the employees under a certain category, whether it's the Payment of Bonus Act or it's the mandatory state insurance. Uh, Obviously, some of the benefits like ESI and statutory bonus are not extended to the non-workman category, the white-collar business category, because in today's progressive world, most of the companies offer certain schemes, which are the insurance schemes, to most of the employees, and therefore that particular need is addressed. These laws were enacted at a time where the employment world was not so progressive. Not too many multinationals were operating in the society here, and therefore employees were limited to only certain benefits. We move on to the best practices. Now, why I say I call them best practices because these benefits are offered by the employer under certain schemes which are specific to that organization. None of these schemes actually are mandated by law, but in an ever evolving society and fast changing world of today, if you see the employment market is quite volatile and it's changing at phenomenal pace. So to cope up with the changing dynamics of the employment world and staying competitive, employers choose to give these benefits, which also help the employees stay back in the company. There's a feeling of security within some of these benefits. It induces a bit of work-life balance, and such employers then are largely seen as best employers because they also add a lot of value to the employment market as such. More and more employers offering these benefits increases the whole longevity of a particular job. So some of the programs I've listed here. So under some benefits, there are wellness programs. Now, wellness programs could be a variety of programs that are primarily offered with the main intention of improving the health standards of the employees. So some of the companies today have yoga sessions, which are, it can be free of cost to the employees. So employees during the working hours can actually sign up for some of these yoga sessions and thus achieve good standards of health. Some companies have actually built small gyms, gymnasiums within their facilities, which actually helps employees to kind of do the workout or hit the gym after long hours of work, and this improve the fitness levels. Some companies today also run certain days as healthy meals day, where certain uh, high definition or high nutrient meals are provided to the employees free of cost. Next, insurances. I just referred about insurances to be which are offered to employees by most of the employers today. Typically, the insurance schemes include medical insurance, which is the health insurance, where employees are covered along with their families up to a certain amount. Prevailing standard amount is about 500,000 Indian rupees, where any hospitalization within that amount gets covered. Obviously, it's restricted to certain ailments, but yet it's seen a wider employee benefit. And today, most of the progressive companies in India and almost all international organizations operating in India offer that health insurance benefit to the employees. These schemes come to the employees without any cost, as the premium is borne by the employer itself. It's also followed by life insurance and certain personal accident insurances, typically for employees who travel a lot and are exposed to more risk. Uh, then there are EAP programs, which are called as employee assistance programs, where employees are offered certain assistance, which would lead to their financial empowerment. So, which means that certain employees are nominated for certain programs where they are met with some financial counselor. They explain financial planning, tax saving, etc. Some employers run a lot of health visitor camps. They could be under the EAP scheme. You know, you get access to certain blood banks, certain organizations which offer wellness programs outside the organization. Some of them are also, limited to certain counseling programs, which would be counseling around certain addictions, uh, relationship issues, and even health issues as such. Another best practice, which is now commonly observed, and I can see that as an increasing trend, which is the paternity and bereavement leave offering. I spoke about maternity benefit as a statutory benefit provided for women employees in India. The condition there is that the female employee should complete 80 days of continuous service in the preceding year to avail that benefit. However, there is no statutory benefit for employees who are men towards addressing the needs of a newborn. So today, most of the companies offer up to 5 days of paid paternity leave, which the male employee can offer to look after the child and fulfill his obligations towards the newborn. Similarly, bereavement leave is a provision which is seen as a best practice, where an employee is allowed to take some time off in an event where there's a death in the family. This could range from 5 to 10 days, and it's paid in addition to all the other paid time off which we discussed. Most Indian companies and progressive multinational companies have started offering this benefit. Then meal benefits or canteen benefits is seen as another HR best practice. This is classically seen in some of the manufacturing units or large organizations where employees are employed in volumes, and either meals are offered to them at a very subsidized rate, or in certain companies, meal actually comes to the employee free of cost. That way, the employer, the organization achieves one thing for sure, where the employees actually eats together. That creates a lot of constructive environment within the organization, and also helps to develop a strong bond within the employees. Because generally, when employees visit those canteens and avail those meal benefits, there are a lot of discussions, and people generally go out and eat at the same time, and they also save a lot of money. Transportation is another benefit which is offered by some of the large conglomerates within the company. It's also seen as a best practice, especially in the metros in India, where the public transport is a challenge. Sometimes availability of, especially in certain metros which are bound by geographic limitations, and also beyond certain hours. Company provides transportation, helps employees to save time, to reduce the amount of fatigue travel generally adds on to, because sometimes it takes a bit of a toll on your health. And also, it again helps employees to come together, to travel together to work, and builds a bit more of camaraderie at work. The next best practice I would talk about is some of the long service awards and some of the referral awards. So some organizations, over and above the gratuity, which is a statutory mandate, provide their employees with certain benefits beyond completion of certain amount of service in the employment. Standard is 5 years plus, where some people are entitled to more leave, or sometimes people are also allowed to take a bit of sabbatical for something personal which they want to pursue. Could be a quick crash course, or could be a health program which they've been wanting to pursue. The long service in the company guarantees them this benefit. And referral awards, which is primarily a scheme which is run within the company, wherein if you refer a resource to to the organization saves a lot of time and cost in hiring. And for this gesture, the employer rewards the employee with a cash voucher or sometimes a gift voucher. So this list is not a comprehensive list, but what I have just listed here, what I spoke about, typically statutory benefits and some of the best practices within each other. So I think it's time now for picking up our first poll question. So the poll question will appear on your screen shortly. The poll question will have certain options, and we would give the audience about seconds time to choose the answers. So the first poll question, which is the first poll question appearing on your screen right now, is: are there any industry-specific employee benefits offered in India? I repeat, are there any industry-specific employee benefits offered in India? The options are A, yes; B, no; and C, maybe. Time starts now. And I guess it's time up. We will get the results shortly. The question was, are there any industry-specific employee benefits offered in India? So let's see how many people have voted for yes. How's the statistics? So as the screen says in front of you, so 38% of the total listeners for this evening have said yes, there are industry-specific employee benefits offered in India. About 5% have said no, and nobody really said it that it could be an option, maybe. So yes, the answer to the question is yes, there are industry-specific employee benefits offered in India, and I would like to give you some quick examples. So the industries like the hotel industry has certain benefits where most of the times the meal to the employees are without any cost. At least 1 meal a day comes to them free of cost, or if it comes with a certain cost, then that is a very subsidized meal. Uniform is another benefit which is offered, and even the upkeep of the uniform, which is laundering and pressing the uniform on a regular schedule, is also one of the benefits they get. So that saves a lot of money to the employee in keeping the uniform neat and tidy. A lot of manufacturing units or large industries also have canteen benefit, which comes to the employees free of cost. Certain industries like ITES offers free of cost transportation to the employees. It's the need of the business that employees have to start the shifts at various intervals, and generally there are shifts running 24 by 7. So by virtue of that, free transportation comes to employees. So yes, definitely there are industry-specific employee benefits. We would now move back to the presentation, which is the next slide. It should appear on your screen shortly. And so the next slide is about the new and future trends which are seen coming up under the employee benefits schemes offered by various employers. We spoke about certain statutory benefits, we spoke about certain best practices, but also as the market is evolving and as more and more companies are entering India and as the market is getting more competitive, we have some new trends which are seen. So first is work-life balance program. So given the high stress environment in some of the industries and the problems about infrastructure, etc., going, employers also have realized that a good work-life balance maintained by an employee actually leads to good amount of productivity, and the impact is seen quite commonly. So a lot of companies have come up with a lot of work-life balance programs, whether they include flexible working hours, or they could include compulsory fitness program within the employment hours, or certain programs which would actually take the employees out of the office and give them a good amount of break, whether it's an off-site or recreate themselves. Fun at work is also one of the upcoming trends where it actually seems to lead to a higher employee engagement where a lot of activities are performed within the premises in-house, whether they could be musical shows, there could be chat debates, certain games like dumpster art, which are played quite often, and a lot of constructive activities happen where a particular day in a month, mostly Fridays, is chosen as Fun Friday, and a lot of activities are performed, which actually brings uh, different teams together. There are a lot of ideas exchanged, and people really have fun, and they look forward to that particular day more often. And there are long-term maternity and paternity benefits also coming up. Some companies have already started offering long-term maternity benefits to its female employees without waiting for the amendment in the Act. And the same principle is applied to paternity benefit. There are certain days which are seen and observed as family days, where once in a while, the employees' families are invited. There is a social program, or there are certain contests where the employee family members are also allowed to participate, and that's followed by award functions and some dinner evenings. So this way, the employer gets a chance to reach out to the families of the employees who are responsible to ensure that the employee stays productive, and the employee is continuously interested in the organization. So that's an expression of gratitude towards the employee family. Certain assistance is extended to this family. Sometimes there are schemes run by the companies, or there are private schemes where even the employee's family get access. So there could be social clubs, certain programs, could be education programs, or simply as funding or sponsoring the education of the employee's children. That's a new trend which is seen. Then there are long service leave benefits. For example, when an employee completes 4 or 5 years of service, there are certain special leaves which are called as special privilege leave, which are added to the employee's leave entitlement, which enables the employees to take an extra time off work and refresh and rejuvenate with families. For frontline sales roles, there's also a concept called virtual sales, virtual working, wherein the employees are not expected to report to office every day because the nature of the role involves them to travel, and by virtue of that, they can actually avoid going and reporting to office, and they can report from the remote location wherever they are. And also a bit of community service where employees are nominated and contribute to the society. So there could be certain foundations run by or led by organizations where employees automatically volunteer to work for that community service programs, and that way they contribute to the society. At the same time, it is seen as a time which the employee takes off work and takes pride in contributing to the society, which is a win-win. Uh, It's time again for our second poll question, which will again appear on your screen. So this would be again a poll question which will have options on your screen, and we would then just take a quick survey. So the question which is appearing on the screen is: Are statutory bonus, PF, and ESI compulsory benefits for all employees? I repeat, are statutory benefits like bonus, PF, and ESI compulsory for all employees? The options are yes, no, and C, only if they meet certain criteria. The time starts now. The survey will last for 10 seconds. Yes, and we close the survey, and we would wait for the results to come. So I can see that about 22% of today's audience has said yes, that statutory bonus, PF, and ESIC are compulsory benefits for all employees. About 11% have said no, and 44% have said that only if these statutes meet a certain criteria, then they are compulsory. The answer is C. I loop it back to the discussion which we had under the statutory benefits, that bonus is only applicable to those employees who fall below the category of employees drawing 10,000 rupees per month. PF only applicable to employers employing more than 20 employees, and compulsory only for employees drawing salary of 15,000 rupees per month. Above that, it's optional. And ESI again for only those categories of employees who draw 15,000 rupees or less every month as a gross salary. So with that, we move to back to the presentation. Slide number 8. We talked about now, we spoke about different benefits which are statutory, certain best practices, certain upcoming trends. So what does really this lead to? An employer, when thinks about certain schemes to be extended to the employees of the organization, also wants to see what is the ROI or what's the return on investment for the benefit schemes, because obviously some of these benefits come at a very high cost to the employer. No doubt that they increase the employee morale and they lead to a good amount of retention within the employees. And more often, when in a competitive world, when there are very few dominant players and employers want to attract talent, benefits play a crucial role. So we tried to do a bit of an analysis about what really impact these benefit schemes make on the organization per se. So first is I think it leads to high employee morale, happy employees, means productive employees, and productive employees leads to a productive organization, no doubt. Also, it leads to good work-life balance. Some of the benefits are enabling employees to look after some of their health issues, family time, and also maintain that harmony between work and health. It certainly leads to high retention rate because these employee benefits, time and again, have seen a longer duration of stay of employees and attracting good talent because when employees move up the ladder, sometimes when they change the organization, they realize that they are actually now covered under more benefit schemes as against offered by their previous employer. And all of this in a consolidated way or cumulatively leads to overall productivity of the organization because if you have employees who are happy, who are healthy, and who are succeeding in maintaining the much needed work-life balance, then definitely that organization will be demonstrating high amount of productivity than the organizations who is offering very less amount of employee benefits. Adherence to statutory compliance is another angle of looking at it, that employers who are offering all the statutory benefits end up being compliant, and if there are any audits or inspections by the relevant authorities, they do not receive any non-conformities. And as such, more the employee benefits offered, the employer becomes popular. There are definitely a lot of companies in the market today, like Google, Make My Trip, some of the banks who actually offer, you know, better employee benefit schemes than the rest of the employer. So, which means that there are reasons for employees to stay back, and employees find much more secure work within these organizations, and obviously that increases the popularity of the employer, and that again leads to longevity of services for the employees. So these are some of the things. Obviously, there are other reasons and other factors which have an impact on the organization. Uh, I would then move to the next slide, uh, wherein we have come up with some tips or certain guidelines, if I may use that word. Obviously, you all have registered for this webinar, and somewhere you would like to know that what are the things as employers or as decision makers in employee benefit schemes, what are the things you should do, or which would obviously lead to retention of employees and that will be also able to attract talent. So the first thing we say to our clients, because as I said initially, that Sannam specializes in guiding clients who are entering in the Indian market or expanding in India. The HR advisory practice, which I lead, advises clients on the best practices of HR and the complexities of employment laws. So I'll continue to consult over the organizations today, one of the things which we always advise them is to offer competitive benefits. That definitely leads to retention and to attract good talent, especially when you're a new brand to a country like India, where employees have a very traditional way of thinking towards employment. They look at secure job security, and they also look at certain benefits which, according to them, should be provided by the employer in a mandatory way. So, offering competitive benefits would help you achieve both. As you grow and as you continue to hire more people across various business heads, it's also important to know what's happening in the market. What are your competitors offering, and what are the other players who are the leaders in the industry offering as benefits to employees? And how come some players are offering at a very high retention percentage, and the others are not able to achieve that? So to achieve this, we advise that employers should conduct regular benchmarking surveys to analyze existing benefits. These surveys or these exercises could be limited to certain benefits, could be limited to statutory benefits, or could be limited to benefit scheme as a whole. But by signing up for certain surveys or actually adopting these practices, we get to know that what's really happening outside industry and where are the hubs where you would get your talent pool from. There are ways of doing it. You can do a dipstick way where you just kind of do a high level survey, or you can actually dive deep and understand what's happening in the industry and right from the employee at the junior most level to the CEO level, what benefits they draw. We can also do, or we suggest our clients to do an organization-wide survey on benefits. So once a while, reach out to all the employees in an employee forum, or maybe utilize one particular phase or time in the whole year to go back to the employees and check what do they feel about the benefits which are offered to them by the company. How happy are they, especially if you have wellness-related programs, are these programs helping them to get more fit or to demonstrate standards of healthy living or also achieve work-life balance? Third tip we would like to give today is improve as you grow. So while you're new in the country, while you're building your teams, as you add more employees, you know, I would also recommend strongly that also look at the benefits when you reach a certain level. For example, when you're more than 10, automatically certain statutory registrations comes in, but maybe that's the time you can sign up for a group insurance scheme and easily you'll get certain group insurance schemes provided by various insurance companies in India. So as you grow and as you add more talent to the team, it's good to get more competitive and add more benefits to the kitty of your employment benefit schemes. Also, once in a while, good to seek some guidance from industry experts. We can reach out to companies like ourselves where we can give you in-depth knowledge about what are the best practices, what are the statutory benefits, and what's happening in the industry as such. Because laws are changing with the new government in power since last year. A lot of benefits are being revisited. As I mentioned some time back, the Maternity Benefit Act is expecting an amendment where there could be a change which would lead to the window raised from 3 months currently to 6 months in future. So keeping in touch with industry experts also helps you stay compliant and also helps you get a bit of a glimpse about what's happening and how are the best players in the space are retaining and attracting talent. At times, it also it's important to maintain balance between statutory versus best practices because obviously, as an organization, you would work under specific budget, especially when you are new to the country. You would have certain steep budgets, and you'll have to ensure that you still continue to operate to your optimum level and attract good talent because you're building a brand and certain employee benefits you need to extend. So budget comes into the picture and it plays a crucial role. So how do you make sure that you may start with some compulsory benefits and introduce best practices gradually so that you can maintain a balance? And And at the end, I would say that yes, you need to stay compliant, but yes, you need to be progressive. That's how you will go in the highly volatile and employee friendly market in India, and we will continue to add value to the society as such. So I think it's time now for us to bring up our third poll question for this evening. So shortly we will have the third poll question popping up on your screen. The format stays as it is. So there's a question followed by three options. So the question which is coming up on your screen is, can work from home be seen as a benefit? The options are yes, no, not sure. I repeat the question. It is, can work from home be seen as a benefit? Options are A, yes, B, no, and C, not sure. You get 10 seconds to choose your options and then the results will be out. Let's see what the results say. Oh, so 62% of today's listeners say that yes, it is seen as a benefit or it can be seen as a benefit, and only 6% say that it cannot be seen as a benefit. Uh, the answer to this is yes to certain scenarios and it's no. But as a benefit in general, it is seen as a benefit, especially where uh, certain roles can afford an employee to work from home, wherein the presence of the employee is not mandatory in office, and services can be provided from a remote location, provided the employee has all the infrastructure to provide those services. In metros, obviously, the traffic is a problem, and transportation attracts a lot of cost and physical effort. Work from home could be an option. Now, this work from home benefit can be divided into certain categories. It could be a throughout work from home practice, or employees may be allowed maybe once or twice in a month or a week based on the dynamics of the organization to work from home. It certainly has benefits where the employee saves a lot of time in transport and can actually use that time to increase productivity. Employees save a lot of energy by staying at home and can contribute more. Obviously, there's a flip side because there's no supervision or control of the employer on employees who work from home. So, based on the nature of the business, this decision can be made by the employer. Certainly, there are certain benefits to the employer because the employer saves on the real estate cost by saving cost on expenses on electricity, power, and even the desk cost. So based on the industry and based on the nature of the role an employee is performing, this can be seen as a benefit. With that, we come to the end of today's webinar presentation. Uh, you can see my coordinates on the screen there if you wish to reach out to me to know about any of the topics we discussed today, or if you need any professional guidance, my details are available on the screen. You can see my telephone line, my mobile number, my email ID, and the website of the organization as well. We would also urge you to visit our website and see the other services which Sannam offers to companies moving in India and expanding in India. I would now like to take some questions. So if anyone of you listening to me today wants to ask any specific questions which did not get covered in today's presentations, we have a window of about 5 to 7 minutes from now, which we can utilize for answering those questions. Right. So the first question for this evening is coming from one of the listeners. So the question is, can gratuity be forfeited? In other words, can an employer avoid to pay gratuity if the employee meets the criteria? So my understanding of the question is that the listener is trying to ask in what uh, scenario we can, or the employer rather, can avoid paying gratuity. As I said initially, that gratuity is a statutory benefit and it's protected under the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972. So as such, the employer does not have a choice to not pay gratuity amount if the employee is completing 5 continuous years of service in the business. Only in two scenarios the gratuity would forfeit: if the employee is dismissed or the employee's services are terminated under gross misconduct, which has led to significant financial loss to the organization, which means that the employee was subject to disciplinary action and the charges were proved in the disciplinary inquiry and the employee was dismissed because the employee's act of indiscipline has led to a lot of financial loss to the company, and this financial loss has to be proven and can be established on paper to the courts if this is challenged. So only in that circumstance, definitely gratuity can be forfeited. Or in the second case, where the discipline issue of the employee has led to material loss of reputation to the employer, under these circumstances, the gratuity can be withheld, but under no other circumstances, the employee can, the employer, I'm sorry, can avoid paying gratuity to the employee. It's compulsory benefit and it has to be paid within 30 days, that's within a month from the employee's last working day. Thank you. I hope it answers your question. So I have another question coming from one of the listeners. The question is that what are the tax relief benefits, or are those benefits considered under usual benefit in companies in India, or perhaps they do not fall into category of benefits? So yes, there are certain benefits which are employee benefits offered in India by different organizations which give a certain tax relief. For example, provident fund contribution. So if an employee has opted for PF, the annual contribution of PF Hello, welcome back. Apologies, there was a bit of a technical problem we faced here. So I was trying to answer a question about tax relief benefits. So I was discussing about provident fund, which is mandated under a particular statutory provision. So the contribution of the employer and employees PF annually is considered to get an exemption under income tax, under the 80C section of income tax. So that definitely becomes a tax relief benefit. Also, certain benefits like gratuity are exempted from tax to a certain extent. I can illustrate that. So if the gratuity paid to an employee, if it is less or equal to 1 million Indian rupees, that's 10,000 Indian rupees, then that money is not taxable. Earlier, this benefit was 3.5 lakhs, which is 350,000 Indian rupees, but now this ceiling has raised up to 1 million Indian rupees. So up to that amount, it's not taxable. I trust that answers the question. We have another question coming up on the screen. But once again, I profusely apologize for the technical issue where we uh, slightly got disconnected for some time, but we're back again. The next question is, does Sannam 4 conduct any benefits or salary surveys? I repeat that the listener today wants to understand if Sannam 4 conducts any benefits or salary or compensation related surveys. The answer to this is yes. Very often we get requests from different companies moving into India or organizations which are already in India and wants to just test the market and want to know how competitive are they when it comes to offering salaries or offering certain benefits to their employees. So we do conduct organization-wide compensation and benefit and even statutory benefit service. So if anyone of you who is listening today wants to sign up for this service, please reach out to us and we'll be happy to assist. Uh, I think that's for this evening. We don't have any more questions. All right, so I thank you once again to all the listeners for this evening. We really appreciate your interest in this webinar, and we hope to have received information which you think is useful for the topic in discussion. And I also sincerely hope that you found the insights on the topic of managing employee benefits in India useful. If there's any further assistance you need in knowing more on this topic, please reach out to me on my coordinates, which are right now featuring on the screen. Thank you. Have a good day and a good evening. Thank you once again.